الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام عليه صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وارزقنا علما وعملا وصلاحا يا رب العالمين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت الحكيم. So inshallah, today we'll be discussing the fiqh of fasting. The fiqh of fasting, we may understand the word fiqh, and perhaps that is the terminology now, the fiqh of fasting, meaning the rulings. What breaks the fast, what does not break the fast, what is makruh, what is mustahab, what is disliked, what is preferred. But fiqh in its essence, fiqh in its original sense, fiqh amongst the tabi'un, the meaning of fiqh was, anyone knows what fiqh meant? Fiqh originally meant ma'rifatun nafs ma laha wa ma alayha. That for a person to know what is beneficial for him or her, or what is harmful. Fiqh in its original sense covered three branches. One, aqa'id, belief. Belief was also called fiqh. Rather, that was called al-fiqh al-akbar. Imam Abu Hanifa, there's a book that is mansoob to him, that is attributed to him. The name of that book is al-fiqh al-akbar. In that book, there is no halal, haram, jaiz, not jaiz, permissible, impermissible, nothing like that. It's all to do with aqidah, belief. The title is al-fiqh al-akbar, the major, the big fiqh, the greater fiqh. And the second branch being what we know as fiqh, permissible, impermissible, halal, haram. And the third is ihsan, and what some know as tasawwuf, yani that ilm which tells a person how to better your inside, your batin, person's ruh. So all three branches were included under the ma'na, the meaning of fiqh. But as time went along, terminology changes, and now today we know fiqh as what we know it as, permissible, impermissible, halal, haram. That's some background on the fiqh of fasting. As far as fasting, definition of fasting, fasting is one of the easier ibadat. Fasting is the easier ibadat. How? In one sense. What is that? In all other ibadat, there are certain things to do, not to do. That in salah, a person has to do this, a person cannot do this. Before there are conditions that preceded, etc. Fiqh is fasting is very simple, is that don't eat, don't drink. Do everything else, the normal, how you lead your daily life, except for three things. Not to eat, not to drink, and to abstain from any sexual gratification. From this angle, fasting is somewhat of a simple, very simple ibadah. If we have this much fiqh, we can end the slides here, inshallah, everyone can go. Just don't eat, don't drink, no any gratification. To abstain, so technically you say to abstain with intention from dawn to dusk. Abstain from what? Three things. Food, drink, and sexual gratification with intention. Yani a person needs to have niyyah. That's what differentiates between aada, a habit, and ibadah. Ibadah meaning a worship. The niyyah. Niyyah a person has, intention a person has, that's what differentiates between it. Now that intention can be made all the way up until midday. The zawal time that you see a little before that. Until that time a person can make intention. And the intention starts from after Maghrib. Intention any time from between Maghrib all the way until zawal of the next day, midday, of the next day, a person can have intention. Merely waking up for suhoor is also intention. The fact that you woke up for suhoor, the fact that you went to sleep telling yourself that tomorrow we have to fast, that is also intention. Intention is not words that a person says. Whether it's in sawm, whether it's in salah, anything. So before salah, if a person wants to say words just to make it easier for oneself to concentrate, that I'm performing 2 rak'at, 4 rak'at, towards the qibla, etc., long intention. Maybe. And that's if a person does it to make it easier for yourself, so that you can concentrate, that's fine. But intention means it's an act of the heart. Intention is an act of the heart. That a person knows in the heart that they are doing this or they're not doing that. Fasting is not after Maghrib. I'm not fasting on some water, inshallah. Fine. Anyone have some water? To abstain with intention from dawn to dusk. From the time of suhoor till the time of Maghrib. From dawn to dusk, a person has to stay away from these three things. Inshallah, at the end of the slide, we'll have enough time for questions and answers. If anyone has questions, they can ask them. When does fasting become compulsory? Either by sighting the new moon of Ramadan. That would, in our case, this would be either Sunday night, Sunday after Maghrib, whether it's sighted, or if it's not sighted, then the next day automatically will complete 30 days of Sha'ban, and the next day will be that of Ramadan. Now, who must fast? Who is it necessary upon them to fast? If all the following conditions are found in an individual, he or she must fast. Number one, Muslim, obviously. Number two, sane. A person has to be aqil, sane. Sane doesn't mean genius. Sane just means a normal person. Inshallah, all of us sitting here are all sane. Number three, mature, baligh. For a baligh person, once a person reaches puberty, then it is fard, compulsory, that they must fast. It's not an option. Then bacha is still going to school. No, a person is mature, is no longer bacha in Sharia. Sharia considers him to be rajul now. He's a man. She's a woman now. She's a lady. She has to fast now. Mature means they have to fast. Whether if a child, parents want to train, then the child should also be ready for that. But for this, parents should also be somewhat sensible. The child is 5 years old, 6-year-old, there's 17 hours of fasting, and they shouldn't push it too much. Our community especially, alhamdulillah, we like to give encouragement, and we have parties for that and da'wat for that, but all of that should be within limit. So training also has to be done in a way which is sensible. Fourth, healthy. Healthy means that a person can fast without becoming sick. That's what it means. Healthy doesn't mean a person has to be able to run a mile, a person is extremely fit. No. If a person fasts, will your doctor tell you, for example, that that it will be harmful for you, that it will cause a certain sickness, an abnormal sickness. Now, obviously, when a person is fasting, somewhat you didn't get your chai of the day, so a little buzz, that's obvious. That doesn't mean a person is sick. A slight headache because of the normal caffeine that you take, that's not considered as a valid excuse for being sick. So healthy, that's what it refers to as healthy. For example, a person has type 2 diabetes or something. Now a person can speak to their doctor that they change the dose, they fix the dose, how much to give, what time they have to give. Then in each person's specific situation, it will change. Fifth one is a person is a resident. In Arabic you call him muqim. Person is not traveler. Now this is very important to understand. What it means is that a person is a current traveler. At this moment in Sharia, he is considered to be traveling. For example, you have a flight to catch at 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. So for this day, you have to wake up and you have to fast. Even though you will become, you're not a traveler right now. Right now, you're not a musafir. You have a flight to catch at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock later in the day to go to a different state, for example, for work. Then you'll be back in a couple of days. Or many people travel every week, they're back in the weekend. At this moment, this day, you're not a traveler, you're still at your house. So here, on this day, you will still have to fast. Once you reach your destination, the next day when you're over there in New York, for example, then it's your choice, because now you're considered to be musafir if you're there for 2 weeks or later or less. And the last one for pertaining to sisters specifically, they're free from menses or postnatal bleeding. Now, this means that obviously it is not fard nor is it permissible. This last one, it's not that a sister says that, no, inshallah, I can manage it, so I will fast. It's not even permissible, let alone not being wajib. What breaks the fast? When a fast-breaking agent reaches the throat, stomach, or intestines via the mouth, nose, or rectum. Now, this is very important. Each of these are very important clauses. There it reaches the throat, where it reaches. So the first one is speaking about the cavity, the throat, the stomach, or the intestines. And the next is also important, that in which way, in which method did it reach? How did it reach? So via the mouth, nose, or rectum. Very simple way to remember is that whatever is considered to be a natural passage, whatever is a natural passage, then only when something is inserted by means of that passage, then does it break the fast. So the mouth, nose, or rectum. Or a person satisfies his sexual desires, sexual gratification. So now, based on this rule, what would you say about IVs? What would you say? If a person is on IV for whatever reason, would that break the fast or would it not break the fast? It would not break the fast. Why? Because it did not go via the mouth, nose, or rectum. Right? Although your skin is porous, etc., whatever it may be, but that's not considered to be a normal passage of insertion. IVs, or how about nicotine patch? People who smoke, normally for them is difficult, so they put on nicotine patch. Would that break the fast? Whether you should put on, should not put on, we're not discussing that. I'm saying, if someone does, would it break the fast or not? By definition, it would not. Nicotine patch would not. It will not. Eye drops will also not break. Why? Because the eyes are not a way of passage. Suppository, an anal suppository obviously would break the fast, right? Because it's by way of the rectum. Now, many a times we have probably heard qada, right, making up the fast, versus kafara, giving a certain expiation. So when does qada become necessary? Yani only qada, only having to make it up, versus when do both of them, yani qada and kafara, become necessary? So we have another rule, inshallah, that we have to remember. If the fast is broken both in form and constructively, each of these inshallah will explain, but just if you want to write it down, note it down, then we'll just do this first. That if it's broken both in form, that's number one, and constructively, then both qada and kafara become necessary. And if it's broken either only in form or only constructively, then only qada becomes necessary. Now what is form and constructive? That will follow inshallah in the next slide. But just the rule, if form and constructively, if the fast breaks both in form and constructively, that means it will be both the qada and kafara will be necessary. And if only one of them, yani either form or constructively, then only qada is necessary. And what does form mean and what does constructively mean? Breaking in form means either to consume by mouth, anything a person consumes by mouth. We would say that he has broken his fast in form. So for example, a person chews on a pencil. Anytime students, they're in class, they're daydreaming, they're chewing pencil, and then the eraser goes down the mouth. Or a person, for some reason, they eat pebbles. And things which a person normally would not eat. But something went down the mouth, they consumed it by mouth. So that means this person has done iftar, he has broken it by form, right? Because anything went down by means of the mouth. Or insertion of the male organ in the front or back passage. Breaking constructively means that consuming something which gives bodily benefit. You eat something which is beneficial, or what you consider to be beneficial rather. Not necessarily beneficial, what normally a person takes in, considering it to be of benefit. Something which fulfills a person's want of the stomach, or fulfilling the carnal desire. That's what constructively means. Now we'll have examples for only qada. In which scenarios would it only be qada? First one is mistakenly. Anything a person does mistakenly, person mistakenly ate food, person mistakenly drank water. How would it be mistakenly? For example, you're gargling for wudu, but then some water goes down your mouth. Or you think that it's not suhoor time is still on. Your clock is wrong. Maybe your alarm went off at the wrong time. and so you're still eating thinking it's suhoor. But here a person really didn't even start it. Or a person thought that it's iftar time. It's not iftar time. You thought that it was at 8 o'clock today. Turns out that iftar was only supposed to be at 8:05. That's why, alhamdulillah, we have this bumper, 2-3 minutes. So in case someone gets a couple minutes off, then please that saves them. Mistakenly eating, drinking, or having intercourse. Consuming, number 2 would be consuming what does not give bodily benefit, such as paper, pebbles, etc. Right? So it would break a person's fast, but only qada will be necessary. Why? Because fast was only broken in form. The form of it. Yani a person ate by means of mouth. That's called the form. And constructively, it has not been broken because it's not something which gives, or a person does not think for it to give them bodily benefit. Number 3, medicine taken by other than the mouth. Nasal spray, for example. Medicine taken by other than the mouth, such as suppository, nasal spray. So this will only be qada. Or coercion. Coercion meaning someone forces you. Person doesn't want to break his fast, but maybe all his friends got together and they chugged some water down his mouth. But no, you have to drink some water. Or someone forced you to break your fast. That will only necessitate, although a person, now in these scenarios, it doesn't mean a person is sinful. That لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا وأخطأنا. Khata, a person makes a mistake, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not, there's no sin for it. But that doesn't mean that there is no repercussion for it. There's two separate issues, right? One is being sinful for something, and the other is, now that it's done, what is the jaza? What is the repercussion for it? The jaza, the repercussion is that a person has to perform the qada of it later, after this Ramadan finishes, once it's after the day of Eid. Anytime a person does the qada of it. Doesn't mean that a person is necessarily sinful in these situations. Or a person ejaculated by kissing, fondling, or it's self-induced. In all these cases, it's only qada. Some more examples. Purposely vomiting a mouthful. Now, as far as vomiting is concerned, there are only 2 scenarios. Many times people ask about vomiting, very common question. So only in 2 scenarios does vomiting break a person's fast. Number 1, that a person purposely vomited a mouthful. What does a mouthful mean? A mouthful means when sometimes when the vomit comes, it's difficult for you to hold it back. So much comes that it's difficult for you to hold it back. That's called a mouthful. So if a person purposely, and you're putting the toothbrush down your throat, you're putting so much miswak, so purposely comes up. That would be purposely vomiting a mouthful. Or a person purposely swallowed a mouthful, and it came up unintentionally, didn't purposely take out the vomit, unintentionally, involuntarily, the vomit came up, but now you swallow it back down. You swallow it back down, and it's a mouthful, then that would break. So only in these 2 situations does vomiting break a person's fast. Normally, if a person vomits, they vomit it out. Right? That's a normal way when a person vomits. So that would not break the fast. Or number 3, not starting the fast at all. Someone said that today I'll take a break. Are you excused? No, I'm not excused. But they just take a break. They didn't fast today for whatever reason. Obviously, that's sinful. The fard fast, if you have no excuse, then you have to. But there's only qada. There's no kafara. Person never started the fast, there's no kafara for it. There's only qada. Or breaking the fast due to a medical need. Person has a valid medical need. They consult a Muslim, a practicing Muslim doctor. They consult with a scholar. And thereafter, they are advised that yes, you may break your fast in this situation. Then there's only a qada and there's no kafara. If a person has a valid excuse. What are some examples of qada and kafara? Number 1, deliberately eating or drinking that which gives bodily benefit. Deliberately eating or drinking that which gives bodily benefit. The person is fasting today and they said that, you know what, I think I'm just gonna have a bite, just 1 bite. So that will break the fast. The person has to repeat it, that's qada. plus kafara. What is the kafara? That will come in the other slide. Now here we have a question, that what if someone smokes or vapes? Smoking or vaping. Would that be only qada or would that be qada and kafara? Qada and kafara. That's the right answer. It's qada and kafara. Now that's why I want to qualify what it means by bodily benefit. Means what a person would like to consume, what you would like. That's what it means by benefit. So the benefit for a person who's smoking, the smoker obviously knows why they smoke. For whatever reason, it makes it easier for him for digestion or for easing the nerves, whatever it may be. That's why a person smokes. They don't smoke it for no reason. There's a reason behind it. So that's why it will be both qada and kafara. Now, although contemporary ulama do have some difference of opinion, this is what we have. Or having intercourse knowing that one is fasting. A person knows they're fasting, despite that they have intercourse. Now, what is the kafara? Number one, fasting for 2 consecutive months. 2 consecutive months a person has to fast. That is the kafara. Once Ramadan passes, Eid, the day of Eid passes, after that person may or should start their kafara. Or, yani if a person is not able to fast, yani medically a person has a medical situation because of which they cannot fast, then they can feed 60 needy people 2 meals. 2 meals should be fed to 60 needy people. Now, one common question many people ask, that, for example, a person had broken many fasts. A person had broken many fasts purposely. So will there be multiple kafaras or will there be only one kafara? The mas'ala is that a person has to give only one kafara for all of those missed fasts, those broken fasts. The qada will be multiple. A person broke 10 fasts and they have to do 10 qadas. But if the hukum, the ruling of each of these were that they have to give a kafara, then one kafara will be sufficient for all of those. One kafara will be sufficient for all of those. Then in the fasting for 2 consecutive months, if for example the kafara was because of intercourse, of sexual relationship, then both spouses have to do the kafara. There's no family discount here. No family discount. Each of them broke their fast, so each of them will have to do their own kafara. This question was asked over here 2 years ago. I also remember who asked it. Basically, mashallah, always like discount. 2 consecutive. Then there are certain people that once their fast is broken, the mas'ala is that this person, for whatever reason, would say that your fast is broken. What should they do for the rest of the day? The rest of the day, they say, okay, now my fast is broken, might as well just make the most of it, eat as much as I can. No. Now the hukum of fiqh is that a person should imitate. Tashabbuh bis-saimi. That you should imitate, act as if you are fasting. You made one mistake, that was wrong, you should not have broken it. But now what to do? Now you copy or act as if you are fasting. The one who broke his fast, they should imitate the fasting people. Or for example, a lady became pure, tahira, after their menses, after hayd or nifas, after menses or after postnatal, they became pure. Now the rest of the day they should act as if they're fasting. And you don't walk around eating and drinking in front of people. You act as if you also yourself don't drink and eat. Number 3, a person became mature after the day started. Baligh after the day started. Although that's not very common, but that would be the ruling for it. Things that do not break the fast, there are obviously many. We just put up some common ones that many times people might think that, or it comes in the hadith. Number 1, forgetfulness. Anything a person does forgetfully, that is, they're not taking the task for that as far as qada or kafara is concerned. Person forgot, maybe the first day of Ramadan, normally we walk in through the masjid, the first thing we do is drink some water in the fountain. So the same, the person says habit, they drink some water, so now forgetfully they drink it, no problem. Or wet dreams, a person had a nocturnal emission, a wet dream, that doesn't break the fast either. Applying oil, perfume, lotion, balm, etc. All of these things are external, topical use, so it doesn't make any, it doesn't break anything. Drawing blood, cupping. Drawing blood or cupping that doesn't break the fast either. Dust or smoke flying or a fly entering into a person's throat. Why? Because these are things a person has no control over. You're walking in a place that's very dusty over there. You're walking through a place that's very smoky. Or it's the summer, you're walking and a fly goes into your mouth. Although it may not be very common, but if it happens, then a person, it does not break the fast. There's no effect on the fast. Or concentrated oxygen. Some people have health issues. They have concentrated oxygen. Oxygen itself there's nothing wrong with it. Hence, concentrated oxygen also is okay. Or merely tasting the food. Now, this should not be done. A person shouldn't do it unless it's necessary in certain situations. But normally, a person should not do this. But if a person does it, they just taste it and then they spit it out. Not they taste and then they swallow it. Tasting means you taste it and then you don't swallow the saliva, the saltiness or the masala, or whatever it may be. Waking up in the state of major impurity. A person woke up for suhoor time, now they're in the major state of impurity. Now this masala is very important for us to understand. That sometimes you may wake up and the person is in the state of janaba, major impurity. There may be 10 minutes, 15 minutes left for suhoor. Now rather than going for ghusl at that time, a person should go have their suhoor, start the day of the fast, and thereafter a person can go make their ghusl. Being impure, being in the state of janaba, is not contrary to being in the state of fasting. Be fasting and still be in the state of janab. Now obviously after suhoor a person goes and they have the ghusl and thereafter pray their salatul fajr. Or watering entering the ear. Many times a person goes to the shower and whilst they're showering, water goes into the ear, that doesn't break the fast. Or swallowing saliva, phlegm. Throughout the day, there is a lot, becomes difficult. There's some saliva in the mouth. You swallow that saliva, that is also permissible. It does not break the fast. Or using a miswak. Disliked act. Toothbrush also doesn't break. Toothbrush also does not break the fast. Tasting without a need. That's what we covered that over there. Chewing. And a person just chewing something, although they're not swallowing it, that is also makruh, disliked. Why? Because people would think that what's wrong with this guy? It's Ramadan, we're all fasting, this guy, he's eating. Kissing, fondling. Even pan is not jaiz during fasting. Even pan is not. Some might have. Preferable acts, mustahab, eating suhoor. Eating suhoor, Rasulullah, the hadith called that ta'amul barakah. The food of barakah brings blessing. A person, that suhoor doesn't mean that you need to have 2 eggs, omelet, 3 eggs. It doesn't have to be that. You could. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that even if a person eats something, drinks some water, that's also attaining the benefit, the barakat, the blessings of suhoor, the rewards of that. And number 2, not delaying iftar. A person should not delay iftar. This is what ibadah means. Ibadah means that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the hukum, the command throughout the day was do not eat, so we did not eat. Now the command is eat. Now we will eat. So to hurry towards that, to hasten towards that, obviously once we have yaqeen, we have conviction that the time is that of Maghrib. Not that person says, inshallah, so much love, I want to fulfill this hukum of iftar, so 2-3 minutes before that. No. Once the time is done, we know that it's time of iftar now to hasten in doing the iftar. So for example, in our timetable, we've already given a 2-minute, 3-minute gap. Now, extra taqwa doesn't need to be another 5 minutes after that. There's no taqwa in that. Now, once the time is done, it's done. You should start eating your iftar. What are some valid excuses for missing a fast? Number 1, traveling. This we covered somewhat. That a person is traveling, and currently they are considered musafir, not that they will travel the next day or later that day. Sickness, a sickness that is considered, and that should obviously be with consultation with a scholar and a practicing Muslim doctor. Now that brings up the question of pregnancy or breastfeeding. The pregnancy and breastfeeding themselves are not excuses. However, if, for example, the doctor or whoever advises that in this situation, in your pregnancy at this point, it would affect the child, the health of the child or your health, then it's valid for the mother not to fast. It should be done with consultation with both Muslim practicing doctor and a scholar. Extreme old age. A person is of such an old age that there is extreme weakness because of which they cannot fast. Chronic illness. Someone has such a chronic illness which does not allow them to fast at all. So that in those specific situations, it will be permissible to miss the fast. Fidya. This is a very common question in our communities. Now, who can give fidya and what is fidya? Fidya is only for those people who cannot fast at all throughout the year and they have no hope of regaining any health. A person currently cannot fast, it's not possible for them. Maybe it's because of a chronic illness, maybe it's because they're extreme old age. And for example, someone is of an old age but they're healthy, then they'll have to fast. It's an extreme old age or a chronic illness which does not allow that to happen. In that case, and the other clauses, they have no hope for regaining health. So maybe this year a person is very sick, severe bronchitis, or for example something like that. Now next year they may achieve their health, which will allow them to make qada of those fasts. So then a person cannot say that I've already given the fidya and now I do not have to make qada of it. Fidya is for those that cannot fast and have no hope of fasting, even in the future. What do they have to give? The sadaqatul fitr amount for each day that has been missed. When we have the fitr amount here, $6, $7, whatever that will be put up here, that amount will be given for each day. So a person missed 30 days, then 6 times 30, a person will give that much fidya. Inshallah, this year we put some bonus slides, some masail, some fiqh regarding Taraweeh, as well as some common questions that come up. And at the end of inshallah these slides, then we'll take the questions for both the fiqh of fasting plus the Taraweeh. What does Taraweeh mean? Tarweeha. Taraweeh is a plural of tarweeha. Tarweeha literally means to give a break. Raha. You may be familiar with the word raha. And after every 4 rak'at, we give a raha, a break. That's why it's called Taraweeh. That there are 4 breaks in the middle. What is the ruling of Taraweeh? Taraweeh is sunnah mu'akkada. It's an emphasized sunnah. That is an emphasized sunnah, and that obviously means, as we've discussed many times, sunnah, what's the definition of sunnah? Something you should do, right? Sunnah doesn't mean something you should leave out. That means that we should do it. It's mu'akkada means it's emphasized. To perform Taraweeh in congregation, that is also sunnah, so that's a separate sunnah. Sunnah, what we say, ala al-kifayah, that if some do it, then it falls off from the rest. But this ruling itself of the Taraweeh is mu'akkada, and the congregation, that is a separate sunnah. And in the masjid, that's more rewarding. Doesn't mean to say that rafal, etc., that are doing in their own places, in their own homes, etc., there's nothing wrong with that. Saying that it's more rewarding, it's extra fadilah of coming to the masjid for it. Just as any other salah. Just as coming to the masjid for any other salah is more rewarding, so is Taraweeh. What to do in between the 2 Tarweehah? Between each sets, the 4 rak'at that come. In the first 4 in the unit, we give a break, and then another 4, then a break. In that break time that a person is given the time of raha, what should happen? So the first thing is that it's mustahab, fuqaha, right? That's preferable to wait for the same time it took to perform the tarweeh. The same amount of time it took for the 4 rak'at, technically that amount should be, preferably mustahab, that amount should be waited. But obviously that is not very possible in our situation, especially with shorter nights and people having to go for work. So we leave out that mustahab. Leaving out mustahabbat, leaving out preferable acts for greater acts than that is something which happens all the time, which is permissible, and that's part of the being an imam. Imam should understand that a fiqh of preference. If, for example, we say that we're going to make amal upon this mustahab, how many musallis will we have left? No one. So now people are missing out sunnah. Same thing with Fajr Salah. Fajr Salah, normally we say, based on the hadith of Rasulullah, Asfiru bil Fajr. that pray Fajr towards the later time, right? In Ramadan, as soon as Subh Sadiq is in, 25 minutes after that, we have Salah. Why? Because if we delay it, no one's going to come for the Salah. No, or very less people, or lesser people. So what's more important is to get more people into the Masjid for Jama'ah. Although the delay of Fajr is mustahab in itself, that's definite. But if that is becoming a reason for leaving out a greater sunnah, then that mustahab, the preferable act is left. Preferable way to wait for that, but because that's not very practical in our situation, we don't do that. What should be said during this time? A person can make adhkar, tasbihat, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, Allahu akbar. The dua that we put up, that many people know, subhanallah mulki wal malakut, that is also permissible. It's permissible to read that. It's a dua, it's a tasbih like any other tasbih. There is no specification for that. That's the only difference. Subhanallah mulki wal malakut is permissible to read. A person may read it, they'll get reward for reading that tasbih, definitely. But to say that is specific for this time, for that there is no thubut, there is no establishment for it. The recitation of the Quran Kareem, tilawah, all of that is permissible during this time. What is the time for Taraweeh? After performing Isha until dawn. Taraweeh can be performed any time after a person performs their Taraweeh. For example, a person comes late. Salatul Isha is done and now Imam Sahib has started Taraweeh. If Imam Sahib has started Taraweeh, you cannot just come and join the Taraweeh. You have to go first perform your Salatul Isha. Once the Salatul Isha is performed, thereafter you can come and join the Taraweeh for whichever rak'at the Imam may be in. This can go on until dawn, until Subh Sadiq. Maybe someone works at a later shift, they're unable to make it for that time, they come home only at 12 o'clock, so then they'll perform their Isha Salah. Still perform some Taraweeh and go to sleep. It is permissible after Witr as well. For example, the same example of a person that came late. Now the Imam Sahib has already performed rak'at of Taraweeh, so you went and you performed your Isha Salah, then you came and joined the Imam and you missed 4 rak'at of Taraweeh. Now, the rest of the Jama'ah has concluded their 20 rak'at, but you have only done 16. Now the Imam Sahib will be leading Witr. Now you can join the Imam for Witr, get the reward of that Witr in Jama'ah, and thereafter you can go and finish your 4 rak'at of Taraweeh. This is a common question, this scenario comes up. Third one, there is no qada of Taraweeh. Today a person was not able to get it. Unfortunately, it's a sunnah that was left, but there is no qada. Intention, at the beginning, and it doesn't have to be before each 2 rak'at that a person has to have a specific niyyah for Taraweeh. One intention at the beginning will suffice for the next 20. Recitation in Taraweeh. Finishing one Quran in Taraweeh is sunnah. To finish one Quran, that is a sunnah, and that is something which we should do. Not finishing is permissible, and it's not to say that your Taraweeh doesn't count or something. That's what you mean by permissible. Not discouraging people from reciting the Quran and completing the Quran, but if someone is unable to, then they haven't committed anything which is impermissible. Now, some doubts that come up, some mistakes that come up. One situation that may come up is that the Imam is convinced that he has performed 2 rak'at. Imam Sahib says that no, I performed 2 rak'at. Musalli says that no, we performed 3. Or the Musalli say that we performed 1 rak'at. So what happens in this situation? Masala over here is that if the Imam is convinced, Imam has yaqeen, conviction that I have performed 2 rak'at, then the principle in fiqh is al-qawlu qawlul imam. That you take what the Imam says. What's the hikmah in this is that you'll have only 1 Imam and not 100 Imams. That's the wisdom behind it. That's the wisdom behind all of the ahkam of salah. That you should have 1 Imam. That makes it easier rather than having all the musallis as the Imam. Or another possibility is that it's not always that the Imam is convinced. Sometimes the Imam has shak. He's also saying he has a doubt. Now the Imam will go with which if a certain musalli or majority of the musallis say, then the Imam will base it off of what they will say. Majority of the musallis, they say that no, we performed 2 rak'at and it's okay, you don't need to perform anything. The Imam is convinced with that, they'll go along. Mistakes. Imam performs 4 rak'at together. For example, a person after 2 rak'at, normally you perform 2 rak'at and do the salam. What if the Imam got up for a 3rd rak'ah and then he got up for a 4th rak'ah? He performs 4 rak'at together, sitting for tashahhud though. As long as the Imam sat for the tashahhud at the end of the 2. Perform 2 rak'at and you sat for the tashahhud. Many times you get up for 4 rak'at, so Imam unintentionally got up for the 3rd and then after the 4th he joined with that. That will be permissible. 4 rak'at of tarawih if it's performed together, the condition being that he sat in the middle of the 2 rak'at. At the end of the 2 rak'at he sat there, then he performed the next 2 rak'at, then that will be permissible. All 4 rak'at will count. And the qira'ah which was done in all four of these will count. But inshallah we'll take the questions later. Imam performs, that's why we take notes. This is actually one thing I wanted to point out. That this, especially programs of this nature, we should be active learners. We can't take all types of learning as passively. It's not always a bayan. The bayanat is just to encourage us, from targheeb, from iman. That's good. The person just comes and sits. But when programs like this, you should definitely come with a small paper, pencil, so you can retain everything. Right? Not all of us have such good memories that we're going to remember everything. That also helps in your concentration. It's called active learning, not just passively sitting. Imam performs 4 rak'at together, not sitting for tashahhud at the end of 2. Person, Imam performs 4 rak'at, but he does not sit at the middle of the 2. Then in this situation, only the last 2 rak'at will count. Only the last 2 rak'at will count. The first 2 rak'at will not count. Whatever qira'ah was done, tilawah was done, if you want to do the khatam of it, then that will have to be recited again the next 2 rak'at. Sajda tilawah, although the ahkam of sajda tilawah are the same for all the salawat, but perhaps it comes up more during tarawih. If sajda tilawah is missed in salah, there is no qada. If the imam completely left it out, didn't perform at all, whether it's immediately, later, no time in the salah if it was performed, then there is no qada for it, even outside of salah. Outside of salah, there is no qada. If the same verse of sajda tilawah is repeated in the 2nd rak'ah, sometimes junior hufaz, some of these masail come up a lot. And they did the sajda tilawah, and the hafidh went into sajda, Imam Sahib went into sajda. When he gets up, he repeats the same ayah. He gets up, he repeats the same ayah. Now another sajda tilawah has to be done. You have to do another sajda tilawah and then you come up again. Hopefully you won't repeat it for the 3rd time. As many times you'll keep on having to repeat it. 3rd, if the imam forgets sajda tilawah, he went ahead, he read a few verses, maybe even 1 ruku', or maybe even in the next rak'ah. Even in the next rak'ah, if the imam remembers that, oh, I was supposed to do this sajda, now immediately you can go into sajda. Go into sajda. As long as you're in the salah, anywhere in the salah, then you can perform that sajda tilawah. Now, this is one issue that I wanted to bring up, that we spoke somewhat about this, is lightening the prayer. Lightening takhfif. Fuqaha say takhfif, to make this prayer light. So, some ways is by making the tasbihat lesser. As we spoke about, same thing, that when things are mustahab, or when a person feels that, when the imam feels that at this point I should make it lighter, make it easier, and this is based on the hadith of Rasulullah. Was the hadith of Rasulullah that he says that sometimes I start my salah with this intention that I want to recite a certain portion of the Quran. Then I hear a child, translating the hadith, I hear a child crying, or I think, or that's not part of it, or there's a person who is very weak, etc. Then purposely he says that I shorten the salah. I shorten the salah. Why? To make it easier for that person or for that situation. Now, in such situation, when the nights are shorter, us personally, especially, and all imams in general, should make their salawat lighter. So now a person the imam sahib is reading as if they're in the haram. It's not going to work. The haram people don't have to go for work the next day. The pace should be such that it's something which is understandable. Obviously, keeping into consideration tajweed, etc., and rules, didn't become a train. Speaking of this, many times before Ramadan, people send video clips of very fast tarawih. I'm sure many of us have seen these. clips, right? In this country, in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, they finish 20 rak'ah. These clips should not be forwarded. This is istihza, is joking with our deen. Even if you want to show someone that this is what people are doing, not pass these clips. It's very wrong. That means a person would be mu'awin, is helping in the sin of this. Imagine that a person is performing salah in this manner. How despicable is that? In front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is something joke of deen. Someone was joking about us, our family members, we wouldn't say that's very funny, let's pass it on to everyone else and show them that, oh, this is what people are doing. Same thing with salah. Same thing with salah. If a person, those places where they've made tarawih and ibadah into a joke, just doing it in this manner, these clips should not be forwarded at all. Even if you have the intention that I want to tell someone that they're doing something wrong, not forward these clips. This is very wrong. Tasbihat, Imam should be mindful about that. Tashahhud. In tashahhud, a person, the tashahhud, to read at-tahiyyatu lillahi till ashhadu an la ilaha, that is wajib. Durood after this, the Allahumma salli ala, the salah ala nabi, salah Ibrahimiyya, that is sunnah. And the dua, Allahumma inni dhalamtu, whatever person wants to read, that is mustahab. But many times we leave that out. We leave out the du'as that are after that to make it lighter, make it easier, and to finish the tarawih at an earlier time. And same thing with the recitation, as we spoke about, that should be something which is light and easy. So we'll stop here and we'll take questions from all of for both sections. The duration of Tarawih. Tarawih is sunnah throughout Ramadan. Tarawih is sunnah. Yeah. If a person completes the recitation before the Tarawih comes, so the question is, how many days should the completion be? There is no specific of what is mustahab. It would depend on person to person. And many great A'immah, they used to perform their own Tarawih. They used to do many khatams. Many khatams throughout the Ramadan. Some would do 10 khatams, etc. What's important is that the Tarawih should be done throughout the Ramadan. You may finish in the first 5 days, 10 days, whatever, and that recitation should also be done in the correct manner. Yeah, so the question is, one kafara, is that sufficient for many fasts of the past, or is it per year? Yeah, so again, the clarification would be that one kafara is sufficient for many Ramadan. Many Ramadan, not just one, many Ramadan. Yeah. If a person is in another place away from home, they're staying there for 1 week, and they skip the fast for that week, it's permissible, they can. However, it is better that a person does do it if it's possible, physically they're able to do it, they should, because the fadila, the virtue of Ramadan, fasting in Ramadan, cannot be found outside of Ramadan, even if a person is qada for it. Yeah. Well, once a person comes back home, then they still have to do the next fast, right? Right. So those that are qada, that will be done after Ramadan, because right now you'll be doing what is current. Of course, yes, qada will be done. Yeah, so same ruling will apply for international or domestic flight. If a person currently is not traveling, then they have to be fasting. So let's say an example that a person is traveling at 7 o'clock from here to Saudi Arabia, for example. Right? So now this day they'll start fasting because they're not traveling yet. Now once you get on the flight, you become nauseous or whatever of that nature. Because you have nausea, now you can break it, it's valid. Because of the nausea. But if you're taking that flight and you're normal, there's no need for you to break it, then you cannot break that fast. Right, so you would look out the window if possible, see if it's sunset wherever you are at that point, and you would consider that to be your sunset, wherever you are. Yeah, during Ramadan, nafil, it's mustahab that a person does it by themselves. Number one, some fiqh do allow it. According to them, they would. In general, Hanafiya do not allow it. Mhm. Yeah, if the Imam gets up for third rak'ah, we should let the Imam know, say Subhanallah. So he sits down, else you have to read extra rak'ah. So contemporary scholars do have some difference with toothpaste. Personally, following other senior muftis, I believe it's okay using toothpaste. Then that would break. If a person eats the toothpaste, which no, it's fluoride, it's not good. Not be. If you do, that would break your fast. If it accidentally goes, it breaks it. Anything that goes down accidentally by way of mouth would break it. There would be no kafara, but there would be qada, no nourishment. Right, that's okay. Your own recitation. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Yeah, so right. I mean, it's a person should try and finish the Quran in Taraweeh. That's definite. But if it's not possible, it's not possible. It's not impermissible. It's okay. Nothing wrong. Try. Yeah. Taraweeh for those that are working night shift. Uh, I mean, you'd have to look at your situation. If you're okay, you're able to perform it. If you're, as in you come back later, or you're working throughout the entire night. 7 evening, 8 in the morning. Yeah, if it's not possible, it's not possible. You pray individually. Fara'id have to be done. Isha Salah has to be done, Fajr has to be done. Right. Whatever surahs a person knows, they're reading individually, they can recite. Inshallah. No, the question is if a person, if the Imam is leading Taraweeh, can the Muqtadi, the follower, have intention of Fard? That's not permission. It's not going to count. Fard has, whatever the Imam, if the Imam is leading Fard, only then the Fard will come. Fard cannot be behind Sunnah or Nafil. Yeah, that's possible. That's the opposite. And if the Imam is leading Fard and the Muqtadi wants to join him as Nafil, that's possible. The question is, can you break your fast in the flight? Yes, you're supposed to. Sunset, free. If a person purposely smells the smoke of the incense, or just putting on perfume, putting on perfume does not break the fast. That's permissible. Why would they have to break the? Yeah. Why would they have to break for the surgery? Does the surgery break the fast? If it's something because of which it breaks, then it wouldn't. Otherwise, it would not. Surgery itself depends what the surgery is. No problem. Nothing wrong. Blood coming out does not break the fast. Yes. That you are. The question is, if a person is fasting and they take a flight to a place where it's already sunset and they break their fast. So yes, they could. Inshallah, we'll end here. Jazakumullah khairah. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah bil alamin.